Hi everyone. Hi everyone. How are you? It's your boy Rasmatas once again coming to you with my unsolicited opinion on African sports. Today I'm happy and privileged to come to you again with a special guest from Nigeria. But before then, let me say thank you once again for all your support, for following, for subscribing, for watching, actually for watching. And I'm glad to come here with another episode. And this time I have with me Pascal Mbey. I hope I got the
Mbey, yeah.
Mbey, all right, Pascal Mbey.
Yeah.
He's a journalist with KISS 98.9 FM in Lagos.
Yeah, that was before.
That was before. Okay, so what do you do
now? Currently, just being a sports consultant and contributing my own little quota to sports.
Right. Excellent.
Yeah.
And I think the name of your show was 98.9% sports, right?
Yeah, and with you, it's 100%.
Exactly. Today it's all 100%. Yeah. Well, thanks again for being with us. And so today what we want to discuss is the standard of football in Nigeria. And Nigeria and Ghana, we are brothers. Even though we are rivals, we're still brothers. We watch each other back all the time. And but then again, the two things that we do fight about are jollof and football. And so, but today, luckily for you, I'm not going to fight you about football. Today, I want us to have a proper chat. And so I'd want to know a bit more about how Nigerian football is run. Over here in Ghana, this is the first time we've completed a full season since I think 2017, because after that the football league was truncated because of the Anas expose, which you follow Ghanaian football pretty well. You're well aware of that. And then also when it started again, then COVID-19 came along, so that the season had to be truncated again. So from 2017, the first time we were able to have a full season was just this past season, the 2020-2021 season, which my heart ended up winning. But that's another
congrats to the phobias once more.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. So but after all that, we've still had our problems. We have structural problems, we have organizational problems, we have bad pitches, we have poor remuneration, we have a lack of sponsorship and all that. So that's the story, in a summary, in a nutshell, here in Ghana. Can you give us an overview of how Nigerian football is structured?
Okay, first of all, football in Nigeria is governed by the Nigerian Football Federation, which is headquarters in Abuja. And the president of the federation is Melvin Amaju Pinnick, who is also a FIFA Council member. And when we take a look at the next level, which is the state associations, we have called them the state FAs. Nigeria has 36 states. And every state has its own FA that's also connected to the main body, which is the NFF.
Okay.
And they have the normal board members in the NFF, everyone having their posts. Then we know the job of the NFF is the national teams, the various national teams. I think there are about 6 or 7 of them, both male and female. Then on the other side is the league management company. Okay, that's the body that is in charge of the league.
Okay.
Yeah, the NPFL.
Or the Premier League.
It's called the Nigeria Professional Football League.
Okay.
It's called the NPFL. And the second division is called the NNL, which is the Nigeria National League.
Okay.
And we have the third division, which is called the Nationwide League. That's the NWL. Okay, so those are the various tiers of football in Nigeria. So I can say this a brief explanation to the structure of football in Nigeria.
Right. Okay. How is football generally funded over there? I understand that there's heavy involvement by the state governments in the various teams within their states. How true is that? And what about the federal level? I would want to assume that at the federal level, probably they deal with the national teams. Could you give us could you tell us how that works?
Yeah, from what I explained earlier, I talked about the state associations or the state FAs, So these state FAs are usually in charge of their clubs, and we know that these clubs are usually funded by the government of the state. We also have some private-owned football clubs, like MFM Football Club, which is called Mountain of Fire Miracles Ministries. Yes, you know the church. Yeah, it's owned by the church.
Okay.
Okay. We also have Remo Stars, another very interesting side.
What stars? Sorry, I didn't get that.
Remo Stars is the name.
Okay.
Remo Stars.
Okay.
Okay, they're based in Lisson Remo. And the owner of the team is also the owner of a football club in Portugal, Firenze. Okay. So we've seen some of the players from that team, move over to Portugal, to continue their footballing career. So that's also another one. Also, we have Ifeanyi Ubah. He's a popular politician in the country. He also runs another privately owned football club. Now, talking about the government-owned clubs, some, I can say, have been run properly, and we've seen their exploits on the continent. For example, Enyimba Football Club, back in the early 2000s, we saw how they won the Champions League back-to-back. Yeah, they won the Champions League back-to-back. And I can tell you for a fact that that happened because of one statement I hate to say, and that statement is sports-loving governor. That's a phrase that has killed us so much, I think, in Nigeria.
Why is that a bad thing?
Governor. It's a bad thing because does it mean that if a governor comes in and he doesn't love sports, sports will suffer?
Okay.
That's the question. And also, is sports football alone? That's also another question we ask ourselves. Is the focus only on football? What happens to tennis? What happens to athletics? What happens to...
But if he's a sports-loving governor, he should love all the sports and not just football, right?
But in some cases, what we see here is just maybe the focus is like 80% on football and 20% to other sports, So that phrase, as I said, sports-loving governor, has really not been a good one for us.
Oh, I see. So... There are teams that are backed by the state governments.
Most of the teams, I can say 80% of the teams are backed by state governments, like the Enyimba Football Club I talked about, they are winning the Champions League back-to-back was as a result of the governor back then, Senator Ojizo Kalo. He was like the driving force of that team. He's a big football fan. Even when he was a student, in the secondary school, he really loved football, and he has talked about how he supported football. I think he was a coach of his team in the secondary school. So that love grew to that level whereby he became a governor, and he continued his love. I think there was an article where he called it My First Love, which was football. So we saw it. We saw that he really loved this game. The amount of support this governor gave this team. We heard stories about him going to the players' houses, talking to their parents, telling them that don't worry, I'm surely going to be backing your son, as he's playing for Enyimba Football Club. And we saw the results. We saw what those players did. They really put West Africa, I can say, on the map of football once again when it comes to club level football.
So is that to say that? So what happens when maybe there are more than one team from a particular state in the league? Do they have the same amount of backing, or does one get preference over the other, or how does that work?
As you just mentioned right now, in Abia State, where Enyimba have their base, or where Enyimba is based in, they also have another team they're called Abia Warriors.
Okay.
Abia Warriors also like a sister club, to Enyimba Football Club, and both of them have been competing hand in hand, in the derby there in their states. And the state government, I believe, funds the two clubs, concurrently, and we can see their results, Yeah, equally, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, it's been interesting so far, and I want to know what's the state of the football infrastructure in Nigeria? Are there adequate facilities for the professional teams, at least, to train, compete, host events? Because over here, we seem to have a big problem with, there's a huge infrastructure deficit. So I want to know if the same applies to Nigeria.
When we talk about infrastructure, on on the regional level, talking about West Africa, I think it's like a disease that spreads across, the West African region. It's not as if there's no infrastructure. The infrastructures are available, but we ask ourselves, what is the standard of this infrastructure on ground? Okay. We ask ourselves, what is the maintenance culture, that has been imbibed, in making sure that this infrastructure that has been built, are properly maintained and can also bring about good profits, to these football clubs or the state governments that built them. Take for instance, like in Italy, I'm very sure you're very much aware that in Italy, most of the stadiums there are not owned by the clubs.
No,
most of them are owned by the clubs. Juventus recently built theirs. In Milan, there we know it's not owned by Milan. I think they plan on doing that too. So when you take a look at what is on ground or what is obtainable in Nigeria, I think it's a thing of let's just build it and let's see how it just goes. Nobody is putting any direct effort. There's no direct effort to make sure that these infrastructures that have been built are properly maintained and also developed and also looked into to make sure that they can get the right profits from. Take, for example, the National Stadium in Surulere, Lagos. That is a very, I can call that a masterpiece, because that's the stadium that Nigeria won its first Nations Cup title.
Okay.
The stadium was built in 1973 ahead of the All Africa Games. So it was built in 1973. You ask yourself, what has been done in that facility till now? Recently, the new Minister of Sports, they swung into action to see how they can renovate it, or refurbish. I don't know. I'm really confused now with the word I should use. Is it renovate? Is it refurbish? Is it? I don't know.
When was the last time that was done?
I can't really remember because the last time a competition was held in that stadium was the Ghana-Nigeria 2000 African Cup of Nations.
Okay.
That was the last competition. Yeah, the last competition. Ghana-Nigeria 2000.
21 years ago. Almost 22 years ago, actually.
Yeah, that's last competition. But some matches were still played after then. But if you tell me when I knew that stadium, to be a really good stadium, it was back in 2000. And currently, I think the work is still ongoing, as well as the one in Abuja. I'm sure you remember the Koja Games in 2003. Nigeria hosted the All Africa Games again, and that was when they built the Abuja National Stadium. And it also suffered the same thing, whereby facilities have been abandoned, weed starts growing there. Some people even said that grass cutters and bush rats were even living on that ground. But
the one in Abuja.
At the moment, the one in Abuja. But at the moment also, the Minister of Sports swung into action there too. And people say it's 80% ready at this point in time because the national team coach has been complaining about the tough quality, talking about the pitch quality his team is being taken to across the country, that he needs, a good pitch for his players. So we believe that by the time maybe the Abuja Stadium or the one in Lagos is ready, maybe they will choose any of these venues to be their home base.
Right. But then when it comes to infrastructure, I think it's a tough issue because, it's expensive. And especially if you want to stay like in touch with the way modern modern infrastructure is built, especially with the level of technology and the rate at which technology changes. It's difficult because right now, if you want to do like a proper standard stadium, you probably have to have at least $150 million.
Yeah, a natural turf, maybe a natural turf. Talking about the pitch now, a natural turf, not the synthetic pitch.
Yes.
These are things, and maintaining these things, involves using the latest technology, and so much money has to go into.
And even with when you're talking about the pitch, for instance, like even the grass, just to water the grass, we have problems with water. How many governments are able to fork out $150 million, for instance, to build a stadium when they're not?
It might not even really get up to that, because when we talk about the culture of going to stadiums, is something that is, I believe it died, and I think maybe at the moment is trying to be resuscitated. But You ask me, you could start with something small. We don't need to spend so much. Start with something small.
Absolutely.
When we see that the love or the passion is growing, we could expand. Take a look at the San Mames, the Athletic Bilbao. They didn't build the four corners of the stadium at once. Some parts were being developed, while some others were still, while some parts were ready. Same with Real Sociedad too. These things can be done. It just has to do with having a proper plan. As we always say, a proper plan. In Nigeria, we always say something about going back to the drawing board. We always go back to the drawing board, and I believe that the carpenters are tired of making this drawing board. It happens every time and every time again. So it's really a very serious issue, because without good infrastructure, I don't see how football can develop. I don't see that developing, because you need a good platform in order to showcase your talents. The so-called talents you have on the continent. You need a very good turf. And taking a look at the turf, it says a lot. It's part of the marketing.
Yeah, exactly. The aesthetics are very important. If the pitch doesn't, people won't even be interested in watching.
People will be discouraged, from tuning in or even setting their eyes on it. They would change the channel immediately. This is people at home now. Talk less of people going to the stadium, because what you see on TV could attract you. I was talking to someone earlier today about the AIDA model in marketing. The AIDA model is AIDA, okay? And the A there stands for attention, and the I stands for interest, the D stands for desire, and the last A stands for action. So you tell yourself, when something catches your attention, it builds interest in you. You desire it, you want to have it, and you swing into action by going to maybe watch that football match or supporting that football club. But this is a very simple model that can be applied to our football in West Africa, and I believe that at the end of the day, we can come out with a whole lot. But the situation on the continent is really, or rather in the region of West Africa, the West African region is a sad one.
Interesting. I'd like to ask you about the income levels. The income levels for each tier. So the MP, is it MPFL? National
MPFL, the Nigeria,
and the NN, what was it called?
NNL, which is the Nigerian,
and the NWL.
Yeah, the Nigerian nationwide. When you talk about this income level, I won't say what I don't know. Because normally in Europe we see undisclosed fee. I think it's like a constant thing already with us, because we hear sometimes a player earns 500,000, a player earns 200,000.
That's what Naira.
500,000, 200,000.
What's the dollar equivalent? Any idea?
Present day, as of today, I think it's about 500 and a dollar is like 530 or 540 Naira. So we should be saying maybe 400, it should be like maybe $800 or something. Maybe $800 a month. That's what we hear. But I keep on saying something. I say something, and what I tell people is, you can write something on paper, you get, for people to know. But what I consider as your pay is what gets into your account. That's your bank account.
Yeah, but then if it's on paper, doesn't the club have an obligation to abide by whatever terms have been agreed on?
But players come out.
You can't tell me that you pay me $800, for instance, and then at the end of the day, because that's what's out there, I will decide to give you, let's say, 400.
We had a player, a former Heartland player. He attacked his former team rather. Or rather, he blocked them. He cornered them. Let me use the word corner now. He cornered them on their way to an away match. He blocked the team boss due to what? His money is being owed. His salary has been owed and he's left the club. I think for how many years? For a couple of years, he said that they were owing him about 7 or 6 million Naira. I think they said they were owing him. I'm not so sure about the figure at the moment. Now imagine a player like that saying that he served the club. I think he was also a former captain, and he's going to do that. So would you say he earned that money something that was not paid for how many years, can you say that he earns this particular amount because it's just written on paper? So it's something that I can't really say, okay, this team is paying this player, this team is playing this player, that, and most of, as I said, it's always undisclosed. Some teams pay, because I know some players, who drive very good cars, I think they are doing well for themselves. So I believe maybe they get that salary. But maybe if you ask me, does it come constantly? That's a big question.
Well, I'm asking mainly because, I want football, Ghana, Nigeria, the continent really to become a powerhouse,
The toast.
Just a few years ago, we had Rivaldo playing for, I think, Petro
Club at Angola.
In Angola, you understand? Yes, it wasn't prime Rivaldo, but at least it was a good thing for our continent. I mean, I think it's
for him to come.
For him to come. And, if we could get, attract more of these guys, and even instead of having our players run away from the shores of our countries to go play in lower tier teams in countries that are not even so well known for football. So I think we should maintain a certain level of quality on the continent, and that's why I'm asking, because this is why I think we need more investments in our sports. But
sorry for cutting you short there. When you talk about investment, you ask yourself, who is this investor putting his funds into? Who are the people in charge, of this so-called system that funds want to get into? That's a very, very important thing we need to do, because when you take a look at the level of administrators, on the continent, or let me say in West Africa, we've seen that some of them maybe don't deserve their positions sometimes. I won't lie, we have to tell ourselves the truth, because we see what they are doing, and also what they have done in the past, and we see that they just keep on recycling them. It's like the same set of people, the same set of administrators taking charge, and at the end of the day, zero results. I stand on this. You might argue with me, I don't care, but I tell people this: Nigeria has more footballing talent than Brazil. I can stand on this any day, anytime. When you talk about the raw talent, I can tell you this any day, anytime, that we have that. When you go to Brazil, a third world nation too, like Nigeria, you can see how these guys have developed their football like an industry. It's a business. That is why everyone wants a Brazilian player in his team. Now, some players go for trials. A Nigerian player was telling me when he went to trial, he said he had been there already for like 2 weeks. This Brazilian arrived, and as the Brazilian arrived, it's not as if the Brazilian had anything special, but just where he's coming from, Brazil, alone, that thing alone sold him.
Exactly.
You get it, sold him already. Because when you mention Brazil, we know what Brazil has produced. We know what Brazil has produced, what Brazil has gifted football. Let me say gift. What Brazil has gifted football. If we are to take census of how many Brazilians participate in the Champions League every season, how many get to the final, I'm telling you, you'll be surprised. You'll be so surprised. But you ask yourself, come back to the continent here. What is it like? What's our own production of talents like? Because if you say, oh, there's poverty, that's why we can't develop. Is there no poverty in the favelas in Brazil?
There's poverty everywhere, actually.
Even you want to talk about the rate, there's still poverty, serious poverty in Brazil too, even in South America. But you take a look at how these guys take football business. I keep on telling people.
That's why we need to make football a business. That's why we need to plan. You see, I mentioned in one of my previous videos that I hate it when we have players of African heritage born elsewhere and choosing to play for the countries of their birth, saying that is they feel
more home
wherever they. Let's be honest. How many Europeans born in Africa would want to play for the countries of their birth over here? It's all because
that's a good one. It's all
because we don't we don't market ourselves well. You know, like you said, you of the firm belief that Nigeria has more raw talent than Brazil. I'm not going to argue with that. Even if it isn't true, I actually wish it was true. You understand? You know, because that's what I want for Africa. You get it. So if we have, and we really have that much talent on the continent, so why is it that we are lagging so far behind? And these are some of the things that I want to try and unearth and see what we can do together to reverse the trend, because we really need to be moving forward, and we shouldn't be where we are. Not in football, not in athletics, not in boxing, not in any of the sports that we actively participate in here on the continent.
Yeah. Now, let us take a look at something now. You know, you ask yourself, what competition or which competition produces the next generation of stars on the continent? You ask yourself that question. And that is what...
I was actually going to get there. Like, how seriously grassroots football development and women's football is taken in Nigeria. So, please go ahead.
Okay, so let's continue from there now. So, the only competition, I won't only say in Nigeria, but also in that region called West Africa, is the Under-17 World Cup.
Okay.
The Under-17 World Cup has become, will I say, the only platform that players can go out, you know, and that is not good. If you go to Brazil, take for instance, I know you're a Barcelona fan and you might not like this player I mentioned, Vinicius Junior, for example. Vinicius Junior commanded over 40 million euros from Real Madrid.
Yeah.
As an Under-17. And this guy hadn't played a professional game yet.
I don't remember that, but I won't argue with
it. He hadn't played a professional game with Flamengo. You know, back in Flamengo, he hadn't played like a really professional game when Real Madrid came for him. You know, it was when they paid. I think they paid the first money, and he stayed back, I think, for one season or something before he came. He now moved over to Real Madrid. And you ask yourself, if an Under-17 player, without going for a trial, can command such, that tells you the quality of the platform that has been developed in South America.
Absolutely. Over here, what happens is we have to send them out on trial, get on trial somewhere, and then
I think you're missing
you're
missing the point. We'd also have to do night vigils, you know, and fast throughout the night, you know, in order to make sure that the player is successful. You know, a whole lot is done, you know, a whole lot is done. And you ask yourself, must a player be subjected to just the Under-17 tournament, you know, to make it in football? Now, let me also break it down to you now. I was in Switzerland, and my friend's house I was in, his son, you know, is an Under-15 Swiss national team player, also of Nigerian descent, you know. Now, what they said they have regional camps. Regional camps across the various cantons in Switzerland. They have regional camps. So somebody in Takoradi doesn't need to go to Accra to go and play, for trials. But what you find out when you come to Nigeria, when they say they open the camp, the Under-17 camp for players to come, what you see is players as far as the northeastern parts, they're coming to the central part of Nigeria. Players down south are also coming to the central part of Nigeria, which is Abuja, for trials. Now, tell me, Williams, if you happen to be a coach, can you scout 2,000 players in a day?
Definitely not.
Now, tell me, can you also select a national team like that, whereby you're seeing over 1,000 people every day? Let me not lie to you, it has been a miracle. I keep on saying those coaches have been performing miracles, I'm telling you, to get a team that can go out and conquer the world, conquer the continent. Because you ask yourself, there should be a database of youth players whereby they play every week, and reports, you know, from the various scouts in various regions are being sent to the national coach. Doesn't that
reinforce your point that Nigeria actually does have more talent than Brazil?
Okay, so that's why I told you that. You know, because on that day when you go, because I've been able to witness one, and what I saw that day, I won't lie to you, I saw footballers. I saw footballers. And I said, imagine if there was a proper system whereby the clubs have good youth systems, and these players are being pushed into these systems, and they are taught, you know, the basics of football. You know, their teaching is properly carried out. You know, can you imagine the quality of player you'll be producing every month? I told someone, do you know how many scouts go into Brazil every weekend to watch the matches? You know, those that travel into Brazil and those that also follow online. Do you know how many? Do you know how many? Not. I'm not talking about the Serie A. You know, even the Serie B and the Serie C out there in Brazil. You know, so many they are following players. We can see what Shakhtar Donetsk has been turned into. You know, because of Brazil. See what amount of players that have been pushed into that team. So you ask you. So that's why I tell you, it's a big problem. It's a very big problem. And I know that, yeah, someone might say, oh, the government is not doing enough. I said, yeah, I know we can't blame the government. You know, the government cannot do everything. You ask yourself, in other climes, is it the government that is running football?
True.
It's not the government, but the question still remains, the private investors, who would they be handing money to? Because in the past, they've heard about how individuals have been able to embezzle monies and all that. Maybe they take their money to go buy one Range Rover or G-Wagon and be cruising around town. So it's a very big problem, you know, because if a footballer in Nigeria is sure of earning maybe $2,000 comfortably in the country, I don't think that would be so in a haste to go to some backwater countries in Europe to say we're going to play football. Same with Ghana too.
Yeah.
You know, for example, I'll give an example of the Right to Dream Academy. You know, the Right to Dream Academy, I won't lie to you, it's a very beautiful model. You know, they've really shown us that, yes, you know, Africa has talent.
Yeah.
Talking about the latest star, Kamaldeen, you know, Kamaldeen is something.
You saw what he did against PSG, right?
PSG, he is something else. Now, you can see what Kamaldeen from the Right to Dream Academy out there in Ghana, as he transcended straight to Nigerian and where he is now in Stade Rennais in France. That is something that's exceptional. I won't lie to you. But you tell yourself, you know, why? And also you ask yourself, talking about the people who manage these footballers, how come we Africans are not the ones that manage these players to that level? You know, how many agents or intermediaries can we call out today? You know, I can say, okay, they manage this player to this level. They're very few, you know, very few. As I always tell my friends, you know, when you see a Nigerian agent going to negotiate for his player, below he's sending a message to the Bureau de Change man, asking him what is the latest exchange rate so that he can go and change the money. You know, that's what his mind is. His mind is on the exchange rate. You know, he's not talking about what is going to be the development of this player. Now you can see what Nigerian has been able to do. Nigerian has been able to take these players from Ghana after they've been shown the basics of football. You know, they bring them to Denmark, and they are still worked on, because this is like a production line. You know, you have to keep on oiling the wheel. You keep on oiling the wheel, you know, to perfect it. You know, and we've seen what they've been able to produce. Now, apart from Kamaldeen, Mohamed Kudus or Kudus Mohamed. You know, when I was in Netherlands, I saw his interview and all that. I've been following him since Nigerian too. Fantastic player. You know, fantastic player with Ajax out there. You know, because you yourself know how difficult it is to get into an Ajax side, because we know the level of talent in Ajax. For you to break into that team, it's not easy. Yeah. You know.
You walk straight into the team.
That's it. You know, so now imagine what Right to Dream Academy is doing is being done by these clubs. You know, it's done by these clubs in Ghana or in Nigeria. You know, they are showing these players the basics. They are grooming them properly. They are preparing them, you know, for higher levels. Now, you talk about the transition from the youth team maybe to the senior team, like how we saw Neymar Jr. in Brazil. You know, Neymar was already earning millions already in Brazil before he came out. And I can still stand by this, that even if he didn't come out, he will still be earning that same amount of money. You know, they were paying him European money back in Brazil. So that shows you his quality. So if Barcelona is coming, they must come for something. They must come with something massive. Now, still talking about grassroots football, for the women football, I can say we know that Nigerian women football is like #1 in Africa. Talking about what we've done on the continent, we've constantly done it again and again and again. Showing the continent.
Two of us actually. It was Ghana and Nigeria, but unfortunately, anyway.
Please don't. No, please. You can't be on that pedestal with us. You have to take the back seat. You can't share that.
We'll be back though. We'll be back. So get ready.
You guys can never catch up because for every 5 steps you make, I believe we're making 100 steps. I'm telling you, because there are so many.
It's sad, but we'll get there. We'll get back on top.
And I also believe too that if more effort, if there could be more effort, still put into women football, we will surely still dominate the continent for the next 20 years. I'm telling you, because when you see the level of players, because I've also been able to witness grassroots teams and the NWFL, that's the Nigerian Women Football League. I've also watched some games, and you see, what's obtainable there. You can see that these players, maybe 1 or 2 inputs, here and there, what you'll be seeing from these players will be something else. We know the finance, that remuneration he talks about, is a very major, is a massive factor, to the development of these players. So that's it.
Wow. I guess that's pretty much all the time we don't have much time left. So I guess we'll have to end it here. But yeah, it's been great having you. It's been great talking to you. And I guess I've learned quite a bit about Nigerian football, and I'm sure my viewers have learned quite a bit as well. So yeah, are you active on social media? I haven't really seen you lately.
Not so active, but you can surely reach me on Instagram at the Captain Pascal.
Captain Pascal. I'll put the link out in the description, the video description. And yeah, so I guess if you want to learn more about Nigerian football, I'll put the link for the Nigerian Football Federation, so that if you want to know more about how Nigerian football is structured, how it is run, you can visit the website and learn more. Pascal, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for joining me, and we'll do it again.
It's a pleasure.
I'm sure this next time we'll have some proper banter, because we all know that Ghana football is better than Nigerian. And maybe in some aspects you guys beat us, but when it comes to the talent, play make I play, my guy, you guys, go fit us. You know that. Anyway, well, thanks a lot again. And so viewers, thanks a lot for watching. Kindly, if you like the video, kindly share, kindly subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, and I'll see you guys again real soon. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Pascal.